It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Hey, what's going on?
What are you guys up to?
Oh, little weed, you know.
It's the Weedsman Podcast Nugget.
Zippity what?
Ready to drop the bass? Let's drop the bass.
Whoop-de-doo. What does it all mean?
All the random stuff that didn't fit in Friday's show you'll find here.
Oh, okay.
Hey, man. You got a joint?
Got a little bit of refried smell on your boy?
What that mean?
Please, just give me my weed, all right?
Take a look at my comics while you roll that joint. I have in my stack today the first Fantastic Four comic to be published by Marvel in years.
It's a big deal.
This is a big deal. There they are, the original Fantastic Four.
Why does that one guy look like Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, well, if you look closer, like he's got the skin, like hey, that's a number one, man. You can see the kind of rocky. He's a smoother version of the Hulk, of the Thing than we've usually seen.
You got the Human Torch.
Yeah, there's the Human Torch back there.
It's a woman.
Who's a woman? The Invisible Woman?
Oh, the Human Torch is just all the fire. Gotcha.
Yes, yeah, that's not coming out of her. It looks. Yeah, this isn't the best cover, honestly. Like, I really like this. This is Esad Ribic, and he does some really great work that is very reminiscent of like Franz Frazetta type of fantasy, where like the old Conan pictures and stuff like that. Yeah.
You could be making up names.
You said Franz Frazetta. You know him because many people would put his art on their vans and posters and stuff like that. It'd be like some dragon with like a chick in a chainmail bikini riding it.
I probably smoked weed in a room with his art.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah.
At some point in my teenage years.
Certainly you have. If you look him up, did I say Franz?
Yes.
I'm thinking I'm mixing up Franz Ferdinand and Frank Frazetta.
I know Hans and Franz.
Yeah, Frank Frazetta, like Frazetta.
You could argue my Aquatine poster is kind of a homage to some of this guy's art.
Oh, very much.
It's a YouTube video.
R.I.P. Frank Frazetta. He died, 8 years ago now, huh? That looks like what was that, Warlord of Mars? Those books that Disney made into the movie with the four-armed guys. It's like John Hammond, John something, John Carter. Is it?
So he had nothing to do with the new X-Men comic book?
Fantastic Four, and no.
Oh, damn.
That's a nice butt. He does nice butts. Yeah, this is Fantastic Four. It's been years since Marvel published a Fantastic Four book, and two of the characters have been completely out of the universe for a while now.
Which are?
Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic, the titular characters of the Fantastic Four.
And why is that?
Because Fox owned the movie rights and was making shit movies.
And went, these characters suck. And we're not putting them in there.
And Marvel, and namely Ike Perlmutter, who is the person who is suspected of secretly running the VA. You remember when Trump wanted his doctor to run it, and then everyone said, no, we're not going to do that? And then they just went without a leader for a little while. Ike Perlmutter is rumored to actually be running the Veterans Association.
The person who ruined the Fantastic Four franchise.
Right. Well, he didn't ruin it. Like
that's going to ruin the VA.
You could argue that I don't know who was editor at the time, but whoever was making decisions when Marvel was in dire financial straits and they ended up piecemealing out their IP to different movie studios. That's how Sony got Spider-Man, Fox got Fantastic Four and X-Men. But really, I don't think it had anything to do with the quality of the movies. It was just the idea that another company was making money off of a Marvel property that they wanted back. You know, we were already well into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
So it's stuck in their craw.
Well, it was the idea that they didn't want to.
Technical term.
They didn't want to produce books that would
make Fox money.
Yeah, that would make Fox money because then they wanted the Fantastic Four movies to fail.
They took their ball and went home.
Well, they wanted the license back, right? Mm-hmm. The type of license that these movie studios purchased was a limited license. They sell off the rights to these characters, and they have those rights as long as they continue to publish. This is a common type of contract that you drop for IP. So that's why you'll often see sometimes random shit come into not republished. What's the word? Like comic book companies will publish books just to hold on to a license for a character. Because if they let it lapse for a certain number of years without publishing that character, they lose the rights to it. It reverts back to the original rights owner. So they're not selling it off completely. They're selling off access to it. So it
sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially when you're talking about Fantastic Four, that was the first superhero comic for Marvel. And, you know, they're often referred to as the first family of Marvel.
So this is basically the official title of this, you know, the number one here should be called Fuck You, Fox. Because didn't Marvel recently acquire the rights back to the Fantastic Four?
No. Fox still has, Fox has them now.
The franchise is in such ruins.
Disney is going to be purchasing Fox Studio.
Yes.
You know, along with the rights to the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. So,
and all fun.
So, yeah. I mean, it's kind of, it's almost funny the way that Marvel has vehemently denied that they were killing off the Fantastic Four in order to spite Fox. But yet, as soon as we have a deal on Disney buying out Fox, we have a new Fantastic Four comic, right? Now, I mean, granted, this book was drawn months in advance. You know, they started plotting this out. There was, leading up to this, there's been a 2-in-1 special that had the Thing and...
Yeah, but how long have they known in-house they were getting the rights back? I mean...
Yeah, but it wasn't a done deal. And, you know, Comcast was trying to get in there and put a bid on it. You know, it sounds like they are finalizing that deal now. So it's going to happen. But I guess they could have always just pulled it. You know, if the deal didn't happen, they could have just pulled the book. But I think, you know, they tried.
America, one company will own all fun.
They definitely tried to pare down the X-Men line too, and I think they realized that they were just giving away sales at that point. People still wanted to buy X-Men books. There's another problem with Fantastic Four because they could always hide behind the fact that the books weren't selling because the books weren't selling. But you got the right talent, and Marvel does in some cases. And you apply them to the right books, then you can sell that book. You know, they have artists and writers that they can go, I can put them in any book and it's going to sell. So, you know, at some point, a decision was made to, like, not put high talent on a Fantastic Four book. Sorry, Matt Fraction and James Robinson. Actually, those are two, like, very good selling artists, but they, like, did...
Should I have had a rim shot there?
They had, like, not very good runs on Fantastic Four.
Is it like you and a whole bunch of other dudes laughing hysterically right now?
Just scoffing through their nose, probably. Not hysterically. No,
I realize I should have been... the last 4 years, I should have been pouring through the comic book guys' repertoire on The Simpsons. Just piled these drops together.
Also, the first title in a little while from DC to hold the Sandman title on its cover.
Who the hell is the Sandman?
You've really never heard of Sandman comics?
No. I know, like, Mr. Sandman from Back to the Future with Marty McFly. Right. Realizes it's 1955. I know this Sandman. I know. I have to sleep with one eye open.
What about Neil Gaiman?
Sandman.
You've heard of Neil Gaiman, right?
The name sounds familiar.
He's well, they've had movies done of his works, TV shows too. American Gods is pretty fantastic, actually. That's probably the closest adaptation of his work. I take that back. Coraline was pretty close too.
Coraline?
You know Coraline, the movie, the animated film?
Yeah, I had to go sit through that.
That was based on a book written by Neil Gaiman.
All right.
And they're doing. I think it's coming out maybe by this fall. Good Omens, which was him and Terry Pratchett. Who's another fantasy author, but he does. He used to do the Discworld books. Did I ever tell you about the Discworld?
No.
There was a planet that was shaped like a disc, and it sat on top of the backs of 4 elephants.
I remember Tape World.
That sat on top of. They stood on top of a giant tortoise, and that flew through the universe.
Huh.
I think that actually comes from some religion.
Mushrooms and write this story.
I think that was derivative. Like, I don't think he thought of that, because I've seen reference to that before. But people used to think that the flat Earth sat on the backs of elephants and rode through the universe on a turtle. Because when you have no answers, I guess anything goes.
Jewish
right?
guy nailed to a cross. Why not? People wander through the desert for 40 years and then walk through a parted Red Sea.
It's not that much crazier. It's just
It's offended all our Jewish Catholic listeners.
The Sandman was, well, for me, and I know many other people, was a transitionary comic. It hit, I was at the right age that when I started to wonder if there was something else other than the X-Men and Spider-Man and Batman that was worth reading in comics. You know, you'd see every once in a while these indie comics if you actually went to a store and weren't just buying them off the rack. But I'm trying to think if I remember how I started to get into Sandman. I know I didn't pick it up. Like, I was reading it during its run, but I think it was like 2 years into it when I started. And I had borrowed a collection of the first 6 issues of Sandman. And it was like a Cure song or a Cure album in graphic novel form, right? First of all, the character himself is very much has this gothic look to him, right? He's got this wild, dark, crazy hair, always dresses in black, pasty white skin. The Sandman is kind of a colloquial name for him. His name is Dream, and he's an entity. He is the living embodiment of dreams.
That's his nemesis?
No, he doesn't.
Who the fuck's Dream?
Dream is the Sandman.
Okay.
Same guy, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And Dream belongs to a family of 7 figures that all represent different aspects of humanity. So there's Dream, Death, Desire, Delirium, Destiny.
These are all like other people he hangs out with?
Who am I messing? This is his family.
Okay.
They are the Eternal. They are...
By the way, I'm thumbstomping this video because someone recording their TV.
It's very much... So, there are gods that exist in this universe, as well as these, Eternals. They're not really called the Eternal Family, something like that. But these aspects, right? And it's almost like they are a layer above the gods,
This is why I don't watch, art house movies. Because if I got to start getting out a goddamn legal pad and a pen and go, wait, all right, who's this?
Okay.
What's going on?
I give you that. In the context of a movie, that's why this has been so hard to adapt, right? Because this is a dense, layered, 70-issue story that Neil Gaiman was telling. And he tells it in this way that kind of eases you into it, right? The first run is, you see a lot of it from the perspective of regular people that are just witnessing this freak that appears to them in their dreams, right?
See, the traditional comic book fan would be like, nobody's kicked anybody's ass yet. What is going on here?
Right. And then it starts getting into horror with the Corinthian and the teeth in his eyes. He had like little mouths in his eyes. And then you start really getting into what's going on in the realm that Dream lives and his family and expanding that story. And yeah, I mean, the story is put on in layers. It's really difficult to tell that, not only in a movie, even though movies can get up to like 3 hours now easily, and people will still go see them in the theater. I remember when we thought we had to pack a lunch to see Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, I know, right?
And even I think with a TV show, if they adapted it into a TV show, and this has been tried, like George, I think the most recent person attached to it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, wanted to be part of it. I'm sure that at one time Johnny Depp was pinned to play Dream, which would be a mistake. But there was some crotchety old comics writer that I was listening to an interview with the other day, and he's like, Johnny Depp's whole purpose is to shit on everyone's childhood.
Jesus.
Between him and Tim Burton, they've like ruined everyone's memories.
God damn.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm ranting, but how did we get on this? Oh, I have the Sandman comic book in front of me. Anyway. Jesus Christ. This is like kind of creeper. Like, it just washed over
all of
me.
a sudden
Did you get that
super
too?
High.
Yeah. It didn't go up slowly.
This was the free weed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this isn't even what we're supposed to have for the show.
All right. I got a new Catwoman.
Is this the lesbian? Wait.
Oh.
No, I heard something this week.
What about Catwoman?
No, Batwoman.
Batwoman?
Yes, figured that would be in your orbit.
Yeah.
And she's a lesbian.
What do you've watched?
No, someone's a lesbian. Catwoman or Batwoman's a lesbian. And then
Batwoman.
I know there's Batwoman now, and it's not Batgirl. And it's not
Batgirl.
And it's not Barbara Gordon at all.
Blue. Yes. This is Kathy Kane, or Kate Kane, rather. I don't know which name they're going to go with, actually. And
who is this in the Batverse?
Well, this is a character that's this goes way, way back in the Batman universe. Batwoman exists before Batgirl. Batgirl was like the TV show.
Yeah. Did Batwoman not sell?
She was like
Batwoman
Harley.
Even DC?
Batwoman sells decently, and it's definitely a core part. She's been she took over as in a leadership role recently in Detective Comics. She's had her own run in Detective Comics. She just finished up a run that was okay. I followed it. It's an interesting character. This is kind of a typical story of, there's tragedy in the family. Her mother dies young. She's got this militaristic father who trains her in self-defense, and, she decides to fight crime to get back at the people who took her mother from her. So it's not that dissimilar from the Batman story, but she's also a lesbian, yeah. That's not something that's something that existed in the first version back in I believe the 50s is when she first came out. Not came out. Sounds wrong. She didn't come out in the 50s. It was later, had to have been the 90s at some point when they kind of reinvented the character. And
just dick off the table.
Now you've seen Orange is the New Black.
Yes.
The chick with the tattoos and the short hair. The really tough lesbian chick. That was season 3, wasn't it? Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say Ruby Rose, but that was...
right. You're like, no, that's like a bad punk song, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, that's Ruby Soho.
But that's what she's gonna be.
Right.
Batwoman.
She's gonna be Batwoman.
TV show.
Right. My only hesitance is that she has... I don't know if she has the right chin for it. If you're going to put on a cowl, I mean, look at all the Batmans. They all look stupid. That costume is great, and it always looks great in the comics. And every time a person puts it on, you're like, it doesn't really work that way, does it?
Especially Clooney's with the nipples.
It's difficult Well, just like
understood why
neck
Clooney's
up,
had
though.
nipples.
Like, if you look at straight-on shots of all the Batmans, it all looks super weird and awkward. So I don't know that she has kind of a pointy chin, and I don't think that's going to serve her well under a cowl. But of course, there's many people that are upset about it. I think this is maybe why it came across your radar. Because she's a lesbian, people are like, oh, we've got to have SJW Batman shows now. What's going on? And I'm like, what's going on is you haven't read comics for the last 30 years, so shut the fuck up. It's a lot of fake fanboy outrage of like, they got to change everything.
Assumptions about my radar.
And the thing is, if they were reading comics, they would still find a wealth of fucking manly, beat 'em up, super powered, all white teams. Like, it's not like there aren't comics being made that they want to read. If you want to just read comics about white people for whatever fucking reason, you've got, some stick up your ass.
You've got a choice. You've got quite the choice.
You've got, in movies and books.
I mean, let's be honest. Superman,
all of it.
White guy. Batman, white guy. All of the Super Friends, except for some of the tertiary ones.
White. Or alien.
Yeah.
Or green.
Yeah. X-Men. White.
Well, no, now white. So original X-Men, yes, that was a very waspy team. The original 5. Now when the Uncanny X-Men came out, the all new, all different X-Men that would come to feature members like
That's right,
Storm.
was black.
Yeah, Storm was from Africa. Wolverine was from Canada.
Still white.
We had a Native American. They had a Russian, had a German, had
Everyone forgets about Apache Chief and the Super Friends. They didn't put him in the Justice League. What the fuck? We can leave him out? Where's the protesters on that one? Where's Apache Chief?
Vin Diesel's playing this guy, Bloodshot.
I don't even know who that is.
Bloodshot is, he's got a bunch of robots that fly around inside of his body and repair things instantly. So he's kind of like a Wolverine where he heals and he likes guns.
Spider-Man, also white.
Right. What about
all of the Avengers?
But there's Miles Morales. Yeah, there's Miles Morales, and he's got his own book, and you don't have to read it if you have something against reading books about mixed race. Or he's like the black Latino, or I don't know how you would say that without offending somebody.
Latino.
I don't think that's it. Oh, this Exiles has been a really good series. And this is actually written by a Dearborn native.
The Tigro?
No, he did I think his name came up in the news because he did the X-Men book.
X-Files with an E.
Exiles.
Oh.
Saladin Ahmed is the writer. And basically it's dimension hopping superhero nonsense. But done really well and very fun. And so you get all these alternate versions of it. Like the Wolverine that's in here is actually from some like weird cartoon planet where everyone looks like they're Tiny Toons or some shit. Yeah. See, look at the Wolverine right there.
Well, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
He looks like a Disney cartoon, right?
Yeah.
And he gets scared. Like they go into battle and he's like, whoa, there's too many loud noises. I'm just going to hide until all this blows over.
What? Huh?
He's like a little kid, but he's got his claws and everything.
Why?
For fun, for yucks.
For funsies?
Because, when you have a book like this where they say, well, since you're playing with alternate reality, you can do whatever the fuck you want, right? This isn't going to affect any of the other Marvel books. So if you're going to be traveling to all these different universes, you can basically throw all of Marvel's history into a blender and see what happens. This is like John Lennon picking out the words to, what's it called?
I'm the Walrus?
Yeah, thank you.
I'm the Walrus.
It also allows them to do things like pull a very movie-accurate Valkyrie. Right? The Valkyrie that we saw in the Thor Ragnarok, if you saw it, and which you haven't, I highly recommend it, was a very specific character that wasn't... I've never read any of the versions of Valkyrie that looked or acted like that. And that was fine. I thought it was a great character.
I am the walrus. You know what I'm trying to say. I am the walrus.
Fucking bitch.
Oh, yeah.
I think we just very nearly reenacted this with... I mean, I know that was your intention was a reference, but that was also me like rambling and stumbling over my words. So yeah, if you like the movie Valkyrie, I mean the movie version of Valkyrie and Thor, then she's in the Exiles.
Keep hearing Ragnarok, isn't it? Hasn't it gotten the reputation as the quote unquote funny Thor?
Well, I think the idea is if James Gunn doesn't direct the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie, that Taika Waititi is going to come in, and that's who directed Thor Ragnarok, and also two other highly recommended movies, in my opinion: The Hunt for the Wilder People, and what was the other one that I watched recently about the vampires? What We Do in the Shadows. It's it's a mockumentary about a small group of 4 vampires that live together in this house, and they're arguing about who's going to do the dishes and shit. Like the oldest one of them is like, it looks like the Nosferatu type of with the big fangs and like bald head and the long fingers. And he actually sleeps in a tomb in the basement. And they go down there to wake him up, and they're like, he's 6,000 years old. He doesn't always want to come out, but
some humor for the Twilight crowd.
Yeah, that's a very funny movie. Hunt for the Wilder People is funny and heartbreaking and amazing, and it's a seriously beautiful film. And I mean, I'm a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but if you want a funny superhero movie, I think Taika Waititi might have done it better.
Speaking of films, I saw a film today.
What'd you see?
3 Billboards. Have you seen this film?
I have heard so much about this movie that I don't want to see it anymore.
Oh.
I think it's going to have to I'm going to have to come around. I guess it's on HBO now, right? So I can go home and watch it.
Yes, that's where we saw it.
I am such a fan of Frances McDormand, of Sam, what's his name? Sam Rockwell, and also Cheers bartender.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. Like, those pretty much, if any one of those people are in a movie, I'm like, I'm interested.
The previews would lead you to believe he's in the entire movie. He is not.
Harrelson?
Yes. He is in like maybe 45 minutes of this movie. Maybe. That's being generous. And I didn't like the ending.
That's mainly what I've been hearing, is that the ending is going to be trite, predictable, and the worst reviews I've read is like, the ending left me wondering why or how this movie ever got made. Other than somebody had...
It doesn't wrap up the story. It's one of those...
Well, see, I like nebulous endings.
It's one of those movies... But no, it's one of those movies that just ends. Mm-hmm. When the credits start rolling, you're like, are you fucking kidding me? That's the ending? Like one of those kind of endings.
Maybe I'll throw it on when...
I guess it's because you don't even see it coming. You're like, what? That's the end? You're still telling the story. Like, that's one of the... That was my kind of reaction to it.
Well...
Although
it's one thing
it didn't make me cry, so had that going for it.
It's one thing to tell a story that part of that story is the idea that not everything wraps up in a nice little bow like movies usually do, right? Mm-hmm. If you're trying to put some quote unquote reality into that and saying this is just how things play out sometimes, that's fine. But you have to take your viewer or reader or whomever, your audience, you have to take them down that path. You can't just end the movie and then, like, in interviews be like, well, that's life, not everything.
Yeah.
You don't always get a nice ending. Like, yeah, we know what life is like. That's why we're at the fucking movies. To forget about life for a little bit. And have somebody tell us a story that fucking makes sense because none of this shit does.
And then, I'm just trying to think of things I can tell you without spoiling it. And then just...
I don't care. I'm going to watch it.
About a half hour after the movie... You just kind of dawned on me, like, about Frances McDormand's character, like, she's not very likable. She's not a very likable person.
I don't think, the only thing that you can spoil is plot, and if the plot doesn't resolve, go ahead and spoil it. I have no I'm going to watch it just to see the performances, basically.
Well, the only thing I can really spoil in the movie...
I know there's a girl missing.
Spoiler alert,
does she end up listening? Is she found dead?
No, Woody Harrelson dies.
Woody Harrelson dies.
He kills himself.
Yeah. All right.
That's the only spoilery thing in the movie, really.
Was it like a Monsters Ball kind of style? Like, happens in the middle of the movie.
You know what I mean? Just spoiler alerts all over this conversation.
Yeah.
He's got a terminal cancer, and he kills himself
because of his cancer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like it's starting to. He gets to a point where it starts. He starts coughing up blood. And he realizes the next few months aren't going to be great, so he kills himself to spare his wife from having to go through the whole watching him deteriorate.
I don't think you can do that in a story. Like, a person has to kill themselves for reasons, right? Like, reasons that have to do with the story. His cancer is not a plot point. It might be something that you threw in there to give an angle.
Well, sort of, because the whole town hates her, because that's one of the reasons why.
Because he's got cancer, and
because they think she's picking on a guy who's got cancer.
Well, okay, so then if he's not even really a main character and is just there to affect Francis McDormand's character, then that kind of makes sense. I mean, if the town is getting down on you about abusing this guy and then he ends up dead.
Well, Mandy had told me it's a story about redemption because it really starts being about Sam Rockwell's character after that.
Yeah,
he's a giant asshole.
I like Sam Rockwell, and he plays assholes so well. Him doing Chuck Barris, him doing that fucking Chuck Palahniuk movie where he thinks that he's Jesus. Did you see that one?
No.
Is that even his real name?
What?
Sam Rockwell. Isn't that a little too cool? Law and Dogs, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. That's the Chuck Barris movie. Matchstick Men. I think I've seen that. Oh, that's right. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He was the President Beelzebub or whatever his name is.
I haven't seen that.
President Breezeblock. Seven Psychopaths, which is on my list to watch on Amazon, but I haven't seen that movie yet. I heard that was decent. He did a movie called Blaze.
Like we're doing right now.
And he's got The Life of Musician Blaze Foley. Ever heard of that?
No.
Directed by Ethan Hawke.
No, and the former Mr. Uma Thurman.
Thank you, but no. Wait a minute. Who? What?
Ethan Hawke.
Oh, Ethan Hawke. I thought you were talking about Sam Rockwell still. I forgot about them being... Were they actually married?
Yeah.
For how long? I don't know why I'm grilling you. Like... I knew a random... Yeah. I just knew a random fact about two famous people. That's all. I'm kind of super excited to see this... Tarantino film now.
Which one?
The one about the Manson family.
Oh, that's right.
Not leaking, really.
Oh, he's married to Uma Thurman for 7 years.
There you go. That's about my limit, too.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook by searching for Christopher Media. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
New Extra Charge Hot and Iced Coffee from Dunkin' is made with 20% extra caffeine from green coffee extract, because we could all use a little extra this year. Whether that's an extra boost, some extra boldness, or the drive to go the extra mile, we're extra ready for whatever comes our way and extra excited to take it on. Let's get it done with a medium extra charged coffee from Dunkin' for $2 with 20% more caffeine. And pair it with snackable stuffed bagel minis for an added all-day boost. Order ahead on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.